What's up, guys? I'll be officially starting the Reddit AMA, and this is what the page looks like, so hopefully you guys were able to log on and submit your questions that I'll be answering over the next hour and a half. I look forward to interacting with you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoy this AMA. Alright, let's get this party started. Just a disclaimer before I get this going. I'm not going to be answering repeat questions such as how do I jump higher, how tall are you, where's Josh Barina. A lot of these questions you can find the answers on my YouTube channel, so I'll probably refer my responses to a lot of the videos that I've already made in terms of the technical aspects of volleyball. So I'll be focusing on answering new questions. Gotta get some protein shake first, because I actually just came from a workout. Takumi Yukihira asks, "Hey coach, my question for you is, have you played any other sports, especially in your youth, or have you been playing volleyball your whole life?" Growing up, I never really played many organized sports. I just played recreationally during PE or recess, and my two favorite subjects in elementary school were PE and recess. I wasn't the strongest academically in other subject areas in school. I did play 1 year of Little League Baseball during the 5th grade, and I also did martial arts from 8th grade through my junior year of high school. The funny thing is I actually started playing volleyball because I got cut from the basketball team during my freshman year. So if I didn't get cut from the basketball team, I might have never discovered volleyball, so it was definitely a blessing in disguise. But I would say basketball and martial arts were my two favorite sports outside of volleyball. And you can say that I was a late bloomer when it came to volleyball. Explicit Materials says, "Hey coach, I'm a somewhat short individual that's looking to increase vert, and I've had individuals who already have the hops telling me to just keep jumping. But are there ways to focus on just explosiveness and strength without amassing size in my quads?" Yes, you gotta focus on developing your posterior chain, which are the muscles behind your body, which include 3 major muscle groups: your glutes, hamstrings, and your lower back. A majority of your explosive power should come from that region of your body. So I recommend doing Romanian deadlifts, leg curls, good mornings, and glute ham raises. And those exercises will definitely help build up your posterior chain and not blow up your quads. I can understand your concern about amassing gigantic quads. People used to call me thunder thighs or horse legs because I just naturally had large quads. And I've actually ripped 2 pairs of pants from having gigantic quads. Michael Year 1 asks, "Not sure if it was mentioned before in any YouTube video, but who is your favorite national team players, USA and non-USA team?" Wow, that's a great question. I actually have a pretty long list. My favorite player of all time has to be Karch Karai. 3-time gold medalist, 2 indoor, 1 outdoor. A super nice guy, just one of the most successful players in volleyball history. And he's only 6'2", which is not that tall for international volleyball. I also love Giba from Brazil. Very explosive, dynamic, and his ability to make everyone else around him better was truly impressive. Reed Pretty is also one of my favorite players. He helped the USA team achieve a 2008 gold medal. I feel like he always trains with that underdog mentality, and if you watch him play, I've never seen him give up on any ball, and he plays 100% every single time he's out on the court. In terms of female players, I'm a fan of Lucia Bossetti, who's on the Italian women's national team. And I love watching her play because she's only around 5'8", or on paper they say she's 5'9", but they usually add 1 or 2 inches. And for her to be successful both as a right side and as an outside hitter at 5'8" is really impressive. She's got great hops. Yumilko Ruiz from Cuba, who had multiple gold medals, over a 40-inch vertical, and you should definitely check out her highlight videos because she's just plain nasty. Lan Ping, who played for the women's Chinese national team and helped them achieve a gold medal in the 80s, and also helped them win a gold medal as a coach during the last Olympics, which is unheard of. I don't think any other player has won a gold medal as a player and as a coach in the Olympics. Her nickname was also the Iron Hammer, which I can't imagine what it would be like to dig some of those spikes. Sunito asks, what's your advice for players on the bench that want to get on the starting 6? I have about 8 months before the season starts. The best way to steal a starting spot is to excel in the weaknesses of individual starting players. That's the best way to make yourself valuable. The second best way is to develop your intangible qualities. And as a coach, I would rather start a player who makes everyone else around them better and has slightly lesser skill than someone who's extremely talented but doesn't really add to the team dynamic. Those players usually bring positive energy, are consistent and loud communicators, are the hardest workers on the team, and just find ways to keep everyone engaged, positive, and competitive. SJ34 asks, hey coach, what are the best drills for getting better at passing when you don't have access to a court? Make sure you watch all of my how to pass a volleyball tutorial videos, because those videos include a lot of drills that you can do that don't require a net or a court. But I definitely recommend having a partner to train with to either spike, serve, or toss a ball at you so you can practice your passing technique. Flishman asks, Donny, regardless of what your local gym uses, what is your personal favorite ball to play with and why? My favorite ball to play with right now is the Molten Fleece Tech V5 N5000. It only became my favorite ball within the last couple years. Previously, I preferred the older Molten Pro Touch because it sat in the platform a little bit better, so it was easier to pass, and it had a louder sound when you spiked it, so you felt really powerful when you attacked the ball. I actually didn't like the new Fleece Tech V5 N5000 when I first started playing with it because it just felt so different than the previous Pro Touch. It was a little too responsive for my taste, and the only reason why I had to play with it is because I joined a local semi-professional team called NorCal Premier, and we were required to play with that ball. But over time, I got used to it, and now I actually prefer that ball. Ching Chang asks, hey coach, what do you recommend for someone playing volleyball with lower back pain? Also, if you had to choose a single exercise for your vertical for the rest of your life, which one would you choose and why? Thanks. If you do have lower back pain, that usually means that your spiking mechanics are incorrect and you're arching your back when you're spiking or you're running under the ball. So make sure that you open up and generate power by rotating into the ball versus arching. And you can learn how to do that by watching my arm swing mechanics volleyball tutorial video. If I could only choose one exercise to improve my vertical, it would have to be the back squat. That movement is very similar to the jumping motion. It develops majority of the central muscle groups for jumping, and it's one of the best lower body strength exercises, which is a key foundation for jumping higher. Sylvia's asked, I have an issue squaring up to the net in terms of setting. What drills can I do with and without the ball, and with and without a court to practice? Watch my how to set volleyball tutorial videos, and you can try some of those drills in those videos to help you square up better. Zips4321 asks, hey coach, just want to start and say love the videos you make. Quick question is, I am currently head of my Collegiate club team. This is our first year playing, and some of the guys on the team have never played volleyball before. What would be a good drill to run in practice that will help them work on fundamentals and also be somewhat fun and interesting? Any help is appreciated. The best way to structure your practices is spend the first half hour on individual technique. Something as simple as passing the ball back and forth or setting the ball back and forth, down balling against the wall, just so people can work on the mechanics. Then the next 30 minutes is making more game-like drills such as butterfly, pepper, or half-court doubles. And the last hour can be spent playing sixes or some type of threes to get their playing experience up. And this is assuming that you have a 2-hour practice. Ehide asks, who are professional players that are good role models in terms of individualism and working in a team, e.g. form, teamwork, communication, etc.? I would say the Japanese women's national team is a really good example of impeccable technique, communication, and great teamwork. Even though they are undersized, they are able to achieve a high level of success because of those three qualities. If you watch them play, their ball control is so precise, and half the time they beat teams simply from their amazing defense. DeMello Fellow asks, hey coach, what are the top mistakes to avoid when jumping in order to reach higher? I'm a 5'6" male trying to make the most of what I've got. Love your videos. One common mistake is that people tend to bend their arms during the backswing instead of keeping their arms all the way straight. The second common mistake is that they jump with their knees instead of their hips. So make sure that you shift your hips back and don't let your knees go too far past your toes when you're jumping. Escape That asks, what would be some steps that can grow the game in the US? Do you think it starts at the collegiate level or at a pro level, specifically on the men's side? Thanks. I actually think it starts at the highest level with our national teams and at the lowest level with our youth teams. In order to grow, there need to be more young athletes playing volleyball, and they also need to have great national team players to look up to that are great role models both in skill and in character. Volleyball just needs more television time in the US, but that's hard because you're competing against baseball, basketball, soccer, football, hockey, tennis, golf, and then they try to squeeze volleyball somewhere in that mix. More schools at the elementary and middle school need to offer and encourage young kids to play more volleyball. A lot of times these kids don't have a chance to play volleyball until they get to high school, and by that time they're already committed to whatever sport they were playing when they're younger, like soccer, basketball, and baseball. Smell This Chloroform asks, no questions, just wanted to say thanks for what you do. Your videos are awesome and I love watching them. Thanks again. Those comments never get old, so I appreciate your thanks and watching my videos and of supporting Elevate Yourself. Hopefully you're really not smelling chloroform. Sophie Ati 6 asks, how was the very beginning of the channel? What motivated you to start recording? And at which moment did you realize Elevate Yourself was becoming a consistent, more relevant project? Also, thanks for your hard work. Greetings from Brazil. I love Brazilian volleyball and Brazilian fans, and all the Brazilian people I've met in the US are super nice, energetic, and knowledgeable about volleyball. So it always makes me excited when I get to interact with Brazilian people because I feel like you guys definitely understand volleyball. Initially, when I started Elevate Yourself channel a couple years ago, it was mainly focused around jump training. I just wanted to offer free jump training videos for people to learn how to jump higher because I was able to develop my knowledge base and my improvements based on a lot of the free advice that other people gave me. So I wanted to return the favor. I also used it to post videos of exercises, so when I train my clients, I can send them videos for reference so they can study those exercises on their own. So a full year went by where I wasn't really getting that many subscribers or fans, but I was just posting regularly about jump training. And then I decided to post one volleyball instructional video because one of the fans asked me to do one. Once I did that, then a lot of my fans started wanting more volleyball content, and gradually it became more volleyball focused and a little bit less jump training focused. I would say my channel became more of a consistent and relevant project when I reached around 15,000 subscribers, and that's when my channel started growing like crazy. And more fans started giving comments and video suggestions, and I saw the potential that this channel had to reach more people and to grow even faster. And I really enjoyed the whole process, so I just decided to put more time into it. You Paul Knight fam ask, hi, what in your personal opinion is the second most important attribute of a good setter, if we assume consistency to be the first? Decision making is the second most important aspect of being a good setter. But if it's to your weaker hitter who's going to hit the ball out or straight into the block, it doesn't matter how good your set was. But you can give an okay set to one of your best hitters, and they're usually going to do something good with the ball and most likely terminate no matter how good or bad the set is. Decision making also requires you to keep track of what the opponent's doing and how your hitters are hitting. Volcanic Demon asks, what advice would you give to a team of players with no competitive experience? We've been playing recreationally training in 2017, but are yet to have any real experience playing in set positions or anything like that. Also, how would you suggest to improve the synergy of players? Is there anything that can help alongside playing together more? I recommend just throwing your team into the fire and just play in as many volleyball tournaments and games and open gyms together as possible. That's a great way to learn quickly, especially when you play against other teams that have a very organized offense and defense. And just by playing against those teams, you get to observe what they're doing well, and naturally you will adopt some of those skills. And just playing together more often will naturally build that synergy. Follow Rain asks, more than any other sport I've seen, volleyball seems to have the most lopsided ratio of players to fans that follow the pro scene. What steps do you think can be taken to make the professional side of the sport more accessible? So this problem is actually unique to the US. Volleyball is actually very popular all around the world. The best way for our sport to grow is to make high-level games more accessible for people to watch in person and make those games more interactive, and also to give more playing opportunities for young kids so they can experience the fun of volleyball and get hooked early on. Can't Find Wallet asks, how would you go about adding decent side spin onto a standing serve or jump serve? If you want to add side spin, you want to contact slightly on the side of the ball and still follow through forward. Hey Mike, asks, Coach, I've gone into volleyball later in life as an adult and mostly play in open play game settings. How do you improve in that setting versus being in a league or clinics? You want to treat the open gyms as your own clinic. Focus on improving one specific skill or one aspect of that skill every time you go to an open gym. So don't just play to play. Play with a purpose and focus on improving little parts of your game at a time. And over time, you're going to get better. Teal Plum asks, hey Donny, thanks again for agreeing to the AMA. As someone from the Midwest, Minnesota, volleyball is seen as a girl sport. What do you think we need to do as a community to bolster the sport for boys and young men? The funny thing is, my wife also thought of volleyball as a girl sport. She grew up playing basketball and didn't have a lot of exposure to men's volleyball. It wasn't until she came to watch me play during one summer in the IVL Men's Open, which is a high-level adult league, and she got to see men's volleyball up close. She was blown away at the speed, power, athleticism, and the jumping ability that everybody had. She also thought that I would suck because I was pretty short, and when she walked into the gym and saw all of the other 6'7", 6'6" players, she was like, oh no, I hope he doesn't get crushed. And then she saw me play and saw me blast and ace all those tall guys and tool their hands and talk hella trash. Yeah. Anyways, back to your question. The best way to get young boys and young men into volleyball is to take them to a collegiate level men's volleyball game, or better yet, if the US national team comes and plays in your area, make sure that you publicize those events and get as many young boys and young men to them, because when they see how athletic and how powerful the game is up close, they're going to discover a newfound appreciation for the sport and realize that, hey, maybe I want to get into this as well. Nacho Addict asks, hi, I noticed on my approach I always land on my left foot first. I'm a right-handed player, right before I jump. I know in a lot of instructional videos, righties are told to land right foot first and then left. Is there a downside to this, and should I correct it? Or should I leave it alone? If so, what do you suggest for fixing a bad habit that's been sort of ingrained into my reflexes? Thanks. What you're referring to is what we often call being goofy-footed. So you have left-handed spiking footwork for a right-handed spiker. I highly suggest changing your footwork to make sure that your last two steps are right-left instead of left-right, because it will allow you to spike harder with greater range and have less injuries. People who are goofy-footed often have more shoulder and lower back problems because they can't open up for rotational power and have to arch their back instead. The best way to fix this is hundreds and hundreds of repetition without a ball, and you gotta be okay with not being very good for a couple months, because when you switch your footwork, your body's not going to be used to it, but the long-term benefit will be definitely worth it. Time to sip some more protein shake.